is Greg Milby, Kentucky's Heartland, powering the Heartland, and Kentucky'sHeartland.com. We welcome our guests today, Sarah Vaughn, as I like to call her, the E-Town City Party Planner.
Sounds
Hello,
so fun.
Sarah.
Good morning.
Good to see you today.
I know.
So much stuff going on. We wanted to have you in because you guys made the huge announcement that the 2019 City Concert Series, again, partnering with Fort Knox Federal Credit Union again this year, has been announced. And you want to talk about the lineup? Go ahead and get that out there.
Let's do it. Yeah. So, Of course, we kicked it off on January the 26th with Winona. This was her second time to come to Elizabethtown. So the first time she actually sold out, her tickets sold out in less than 3 days. And so I knew as soon as it sold out, we've got to bring her back again. And of course, it's Winona. I mean, why not? So,
Winona, why not? I like that. That's cute. You didn't even plan to do that.
I really didn't. That was good. Happy accident. So we had Winona's sold out show. Great kickoff to the series. And we added 3 more to the lineup. And it's been driving me crazy because I've been hanging on to this news for several weeks now. So we finally was able to get it out. First, have to say a huge thanks to Fort Knox Federal Credit Union, because without them, we're not able to bring these types of events to the State Theater. So Joe Diffie's going to be our next. Ticket sales for him will go out.
Here, I'm going to put the graphic up on the screen.
There you go.
How about that?
Good. And I get a cheat sheet.
There you go. there you go. Just for you.
Thank you. So May the 10th, of course, is going to be Joe Diffie, and ticket sales for him will start on March the 1st at 10 a.m. And they range anywhere from, I believe, 25 to 45. And most of the ticket sales are relatively similar, within $10 to $20, depends on, if you have the Winona level or whatnot. But we all remember good old Joe Diffie, and thanks to Mr. Jason Aldean a few years ago coming out with a song about Joe Diffie. So
see, I don't like that. Because I like Joe Diffie because of Joe Diffie. You know, I'm one of those guys. I go old school. I'm back in the day. So I like Joe Diffie because he brought me up beside the jukebox, and little John Deere Green and some of those songs.
And that's what you're going to hear.
Right.
I don't think he'll do a cover of Jason Aldean.
I hope not.
Joe. You'd think that'd be weird.
It would be. Maybe he should do one called Jason out.
He should.
Just mess it up like
that.
that.
If I get a chance to meet him, that's what I'm going to tell him.
Pull that up. All right. So Joe Diffie, May 10th.
Joe Diffie, May 10th.
Tickets go on sale March 1st.
Yep. You got it.
And you can get those, of course, at the State Theater. Any other way to get those?
You can get them in person, or you can go to thestate270.org.
All right.
Beginning 10 a.m. on March the 1st is when you can get those. So ticket sales, of course, then you add on the ticket fees, all that good stuff. But all you got to do is check out thestate270.org to get all your information. And if you do go to our new and awesome website, ElizabethtownKY.org, then you can click on the concert series, and it will actually take you to the ticketing, so you can just go there directly and see exactly what ticket prices are and when they go on sale. And if you're thinking, I think I remember Joe Diffie, but I'm not 100% sure, of course, you can Google and YouTube him.
If you don't remember Joe Diffie, we can't be friends. I'm just saying.
Well, I can't say that, but yes, you can.
I'm excited for the second, or I guess it would be the third.
Yes.
The third in the 4 concert series. McAnally.
Yes. And I've heard, I've had a couple people, who in the world is that? But Mac, as you know, for all you parrot heads out there, he is he's Jimmy Buffett's right-hand man, first and foremost. Well, not first and foremost, secondly, I guess. But he is a Grammy Award-winning writer. And the thing you're going to hear on August the 16th at the Mac show is you're going to hear nothing but hits. But as you're hearing the hits, you're going to be going, wait a second, that is, Kenny Chestnut made that famous.
That's Kenny Chestnut?
Yeah.
Kenny Chesney.
Sorry.
Mark Chestnut.
Mark Chestnut.
That's okay.
That's early.
That's a new artist that's coming into town
Kenny
soon.
Chestnut.
Kenny Chestnut.
He's the 5th in the series.
You know what? If you bring
I'm
Kenny
making
Chestnut to the State Theater, I'm not buying a ticket. I'm
Please
just saying.
don't. We have problems.
Could you imagine that? You know what? Who's this Kenny? What? I thought it's Kenny Chestnut.
Yeah.
He's like 5 people. He lives in Upton.
Easy.
So
easy.
McAnally, and I'll tell you, I know you mentioned him, if you're a Parrot Head fan, but if you're a country music fan from from years gone by.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people may not know this, but I love good classic country and contemporary country from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. You know, McAnally, a great songwriter.
Yes,
I
phenomenal.
mean, he makes more money being a songwriter than he is as an artist. And
Most
he's
definitely.
had quite a few albums, written huge hits. If you're a Sawyer Brown fan, he's written All These Years, The Boys and Me, Cafe Down on the Corner, Thank God for You, written by McAnally.
Okay.
See?
I'm learning stuff
Alabama,
here.
Old Flame.
Yes. Yes.
You want to sing it?
No.
Okay, I don't either. Shenandoah, 2 Dozen Roses. I love that song. I could sing that.
They've been to the theater before.
And then Kenny Chesney, he wrote that song Down the Road.
I'm never going to live that down.
You're not going to live that one
Nope.
down. But that's okay. That's what we do around here. We kind of do that. So I'm going to put your graphic there that Sarah Vaughn, Elizabethtown
So
City Events
official.
Coordinator.
I love it. Can I borrow that?
Sure.
Okay.
You can borrow that anytime
Thanks.
when you're on this show.
Right.
So that's a great show. And that's, as mentioned, it's August 16th. Tickets for go on sale at the end of May for that one.
May 31st. And the thing that folks need to know, like I said, when you go there, you're going to know almost every song that he's going to be singing. Possibly made by famous, made famous by another big artist. But he is the writer behind most of those songs. And the other thing is that I love to go to shows, especially a little bit more acoustic feel, which is what it's going to be with Mac. I believe there's going to be a keyboard and maybe another guitar, but that's about it. But he is going to really connect with the audience, and he is going to tell stories. And that is what, anytime you learn or see anything online about Mac, it is all about the fact that he is a phenomenal storyteller. Yeah. And one of the biggest compliments that I hear about the artist that comes to the theater is, man, he really connected with the audience, and we got to hear all these stories, and we love to hear those stories, so you're going to get that with Mac.
You'll get the background stories of writing for Sawyer Brown and writing for Alabama and Shenandoah and Kenny Chesney and Jimmy Buffett. I mean, songwriters like that have just amazing stories. Scotty Emmerich, who was a guitar player for Toby Keith, and I think he still is, one really great songwriter. I had a chance to meet with him one time, and some of his stories about writing songs were better than anything you could hear on tour with Toby Keith. As far as the stories, it's Toby Keith. You know, he had some stories on tour. I'm sure stories that we probably couldn't share too many of them.
Hopefully, Mac's got some good ones on Jimmy.
Yeah. So maybe we'll hear that in August. And then in October the 11th at the State Theater.
Little Texas.
Yes.
Super excited about that one.
That's good.
As well. So, and those tickets actually go on sale August the 2nd. So, we tier them so folks they're able, if they want to buy a ticket to all the concerts we have, it's not like they're all on sale at once or they sell out too quickly because it is a smaller theater, 650 seats. So, but one thing I do want to mention, you and I chatted about this a little bit before, the theater has opened a membership program and a way to get early sales if you are an avid concert goer, especially at the State Theater, is to become a member. And so if you go to thestate270.org, you can become a member of the State Theater. And the biggest benefit to doing that is 24 to 48, depending upon the level you pay for, 24 to 48 hours earlier for the ticket sales that they open up to you.
That's good. It means you get good seats.
Exactly. You get the seats you want. So
there you go. And that's what it's all about. So I think Little Texas will be great. I mean, you want to talk about filling the theater with sound.
Yeah.
I mean, their harmony's absolutely fabulous. And I think they took a break for, 8 years or so. It did other things and now have come back together to kind of relaunch themselves and head out on tour, which is good. Because, if you're a country fan, What Might Have Been, Kick a Little, God Bless Texas. I think even... I was reading somewhere that even Ford dealerships or auto dealers in Texas still use that as like their advertising campaign. So they're probably going out on tour like, we don't care about money.
Right.
We're getting money here. But true. Speaking of that, how does the process go for booking acts? Because I hear that all the time, and I used to give you a hard time about you always only booking country acts. But I get that because other genres are a little more expensive and maybe don't sell as well. But it really is about getting an act at a good price, but still being able to have a great performance.
Yes. So one of the biggest surprises to folks when I talk to them about booking, is the cost of artists. And so first and foremost, if you go through a booking agency, which is the cleanest way to do it because they're under contract, the artists are under contract with these agencies. The one thing you learn real quick is that everything is about that dollar. And so we have to make sure that we're not going crazy too big and going to spend a lot of money. But at the same time, we want to make sure that, we can pay for that show. And so, when you look, and I get this all the time, why do you only book country? Is it because you like country? And I tell folks, if I only booked the artists that I wanted, I probably would be out of a job right now because no one's coming over. It has nothing to do with my personal. Kitty Chestnut's coming on Saturday.
5 people.
If I have another kid, I'm going to have to name him that.
4
You know that, right?
Are from Sarah's family. Here you go.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done.
No, don't get up. We're not done yet. And what you mentioned, the limited number of seats in the venue, in the State Theater.
Yes.
You can't book a classic rock band that you're going to need to sell 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 tickets to break even.
To pay for it, right? I mean, we can't charge folks in that theater in any location. You can't charge folks $350 for their seat. You just can't. Right. People aren't going to pay it. They're going to think you're insane. And we see folks all the time, why don't we bring, George Strait and so-and-so and so-and-so? Well, there's a lot of stipulations on that. Rock bands and a lot of more of other genres, especially other than country, that's what you see a lot of. And not only are they more expensive just because they're more expensive. I don't know, it can't exactly answer that as to why. But on top of that, a lot of them will only fly into your venue. And that's a fly-in date. And so one of the things is we can't pay for a fly-in date because now you're out on all the air flight and they don't show up with their drums on the flight. So now you got to go get their drums and they want a certain specific kind of drums, or the keyboard player has to have a certain specific keyboard. And that's what's called all of their backline. And so when you are looking at it's called a rider. And so the first thing you ask for in looking at an artist is, what is your rider? Because we have to see what it's going to cost us to provide for you.
Yeah.
Because yes, we have the booking fee, whether that's $5,000 to $25,000 is usually our range at the theater. And so we have that booking fee, and then we have all the expenses. So if they send me a 30-page rider, I can promise you we're going to have a certain color of M&Ms.
Oh yeah. And that's no joke. You do have artists
literally that
have very, very strict requirements when it comes to their backstage area.
They do. And so John Anderson, one of the easiest artists. I think it was like a 4-page rider, first of all, and I'm pretty sure some of it was just
filler
words. Yeah, like, are you reading this? And I have read some like that. I was like, just testing if you're reading this. And then, they would ask for a masseuse, and they're like, ha, ha, ha. No, really, that'd be great if you could get us a masseuse. I mean, some of them have fun with it. But for the most part, a lot of these artists, and if you think about it, well, what's funny is they like to catch you in some things and go, yeah, we did ask for blue M&Ms. And they know when they get to your venue, if you have blue M&Ms and I'm just using an example, I've never had anybody ask for blue M&Ms. But they know when you get there, they know they're going to be treated well. And so that's another thing too. They know they're going to have a great show because you have crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's. And so another thing is just sometimes management, not always the artist, but sometimes management and sometimes the artist, they live on the road. And so I know at my house, I have a certain level of standard of cleanliness, of brands of food, of things that I need and want. And those are my desires. And so I make sure that I take care of those at my house. Well, if I live on a bus, because I'm touring and that's the career God has blessed me with. Well, now I got to rely on Greg Milby, who's over at this theater, to make sure I'm comfortable. And so I get so much of it. I really, really do. It's not always fun handling the hospitality of it. But then the other part is that, we had Alan Jackson in 2016. That's a whole different level.
Yeah.
It's a whole different ballgame.
There's a couple of more zeros on that contract.
Just a few more. And so when you get more zeros on the contract, then everything else gets a couple of steps up. And so when you look at the other genres, they tend to be a lot worse. But the other thing is, and people, you can't argue with, we've done this now. It's our 3rd year. This community loves country, and no one can argue that because the shows keep selling out.
Yeah.
So until they stop selling out, and there have been other genres brought in, not necessarily by us.
But, no offense, E-Town is a great spot. Hardin County is a great spot to come and watch music and watch entertainment. But if you want to go see a huge band, there's the KFC Yum Center.
Exactly.
There's larger venues in
Exactly.
Cincinnati and Evansville and Louisville that you can go to.
Exactly.
Why not have your little niche of an artist that's been around for a while and maybe hasn't produced a hit in a bit, but that also makes it affordable for people to come to.
Right.
And that's what it's all
something
about.
in your backyard.
I mean, the Alan Jackson show, we've talked about that quite a bit. There was a lot of things that, the weather and this and that. I mean, that's a different game. And I think it was it was a good idea to step back and go, you know what? Maybe we play a different type of game.
Right. He was just at the Yum Center.
Yeah, no,
which is where he should be.
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't need to be at Freeman Lake Park.
But looking again at the list of artists that are coming, I mean, Winona, that's a great show.
Definitely.
Joe Diffie, that's a great show.
Yeah.
McAnally, some people may go, what? But if you go to that show, I think you're truly going to enjoy it because he has written a lot of different songs.
He's great.
He has a lot of different styles that he writes.
Yep.
And you're gonna recognize the songs. And then Little Texas, I mean, come on. It's
Who
Little
did
Texas.
not dance to that in middle and high school?
I busted out to some Little Texas back in the day.
Yes.
I don't know if it was in middle school or high school. I think maybe
or
you're showing your age a little bit. I might have been actually playing their records back in the day when I first started in the business. So with talking about that and getting the artists to come to town and booking shows at the State Theater, what is the purpose? What is your job? What is your purpose? How about that? I mean, I should probably zoom in specifically on you and go, what is
scratch
your
my nose again and
purpose?
Then we can zoom in.
There you go. So what is the purpose of the events program? Because I know it has a purpose, but if there's somebody that's asking, what exactly is the purpose?
Well, in 2012, Mayor Tim Walker was in conversation with tourism, with city council, and with the chamber. And as we all know, the events prior to 2012, almost all of them were created, ran, and paid for by the Hardin County Chamber. Mm-hmm. Thank you to the Hardin County Chamber and to Miss Edith, because they had enough foresight to know that our community was growing, that we needed our own events to call our own. And so they started that, especially with the Heartland Festival, obviously. And so, but in 2012, as Elizabethtown has grown, the Chamber was growing as well in a different direction. And they said, you know what? We're not going to be holding on to these events anymore, but we want them to continue. And that's when the conversation between tourism and city started and said, you're right. We need to have someone that is in place doing that. And thus I got my job, and I always laugh because my first day on the job, because there was no job description. I mean, there was, because we have to have one legally, but this was all new. And that was
duties
the question.
as assigned.
Exactly. And everything was other duties that is assigned. But I had to really create the program from the ground up, building upon what others had done. And that was the first thing that we had to do as a city and as tourism, is to say, why do we need this? And at the end of the day, it is 110% about quality of life. Mm-hmm. So one of the biggest missings that folks don't think about is, we have a lot of 5Ks. We have a lot of big events that are happening, or smaller events, but, they're happening in our community. And so event coordinators, I was one of them, with a prior event, that you need electric in a parking lot. Who in the world do you call? Mm-hmm. You just start calling all these people within the city, within the county. Where do you go? And so one of my biggest jobs is to help other event coordinators that are wanting to have events in the city, to help navigate them through the process, because obviously I can't do all the events. So we want other folks to continue doing those and continuing to make our community is such a great place to live. We want something too much going on, Yeah. And so that's a huge piece of my job. And the other piece of that is we do more than just the concert series. We have the wine festival. This will be our third year for that. And that event is awesome. And with that, it's not, it's just people out drinking wine at Freeman Lake. No. We are highlighting Kentucky Proud. We are highlighting Kentucky wineries. And it's a just a great event. I love that event. And then of course, Cruising the Heartland. And when you look at each individual event, they touch so many people differently. And it gives us a sense of pride to look at photos standing on top of the courthouse in the middle that have 2,500 cars, going down Dixie and say, that's my community. And so each one of us, we want a piece of investment in our community and events, because not all of us are going to start our own businesses. Not all of us are going to purchase property and grow something or create something. Not all of us are entrepreneurs. And so events is an avenue for everyone to get involved in the community. And that, at the end of the day, my job is to make sure that folks are proud of the community they live in. They're proud of Elizabethtown. And of course, it's, it's so much fun to be able to say, what's missing out of this event? What can we add here? July 4th is a huge event as well, with Founders Day, because July 4th is also Elizabethtown's birthday. Yeah. And so July 4th Founders Day is before that, the community fireworks, the big fireworks show, had the owner of that show had bounced around. And so previously with First Federal, of course, they had Pops in the Park, but it didn't coincide with July the 4th. And a lot of folks don't remember that.
Yeah, it was a different date. Yeah.
It was a whole different day. Yeah. It was like 2 weeks later sometimes. And so that was the first thing that we did, is to say, we need to own the fireworks. We need to own that show, not because we want control of it, although for safety reasons we need control of it. But more than anything, we want to make sure our community has a fireworks show for July the 4th. I mean, come on. Yeah. We all want to have that. We want to be able to take our kids and our family to go watch a great fireworks show. Not all of us are going to be going, during Derby time over to Thunder over Louisville. Yeah, I know. And so, not that we're going to have anything like that anytime.
Are you saying that? Are you saying Founders Day fireworks this year is going to be like Thunder over Louisville?
Not at all. No.
I've got it on tape right now.
Yeah, no. I did not say that. Okay. But we want something. We want things. We want to be able to call, our own. We want to own that. And so I told Mayor Gregory this a couple of weeks ago when you do a great job on such and such. And I said, I don't want the credit on these things, because number one, it takes so many city staff and volunteers. People just have no idea. And number two, I want everyone sitting in that audience, I want everyone attending that event to go, look what our community did. Yeah. This is not about one person. It is not about a group of people or whatever. And so it's very important for your city government to be involved in that. And I have yet heard anyone say, I can't believe our city government is, paying someone to put on events. I've never heard that. I might now, but that I said that.
You might not. Because I think that was important to mention that, because it is a thankless job. It really, truly is. Because when things go well, people expect that. But when things do not go well, then that's where you hear things. And I know that, just personally, I'm saying, I'll put my name back up here to say that. I think you have been wrongly accused of some things in the past, of events, not working out with that
part of the job.
But you take that, but just where you don't take the credit, it's
interesting.
I know. Yeah. But it is great to see, and it's great to see. I know our community's changing. We're seeing growth, and I know people sometimes don't understand change. And I know that's hard. And as we continue to grow, there'll be other things that change. And
you can always count on that.
Yeah. But the cool thing is, it's not going to change, is at least this year, we have a concert series.
That's
right. Winona show. If you want those tickets, I've got some of those for sale. It's already happened. So that was the first show.
$100 a ticket. Is that what you got going on?
Joe Diffie on May 10th, McAnally August the 16th, and October the 11th, Little Texas. Thank you to Fort Knox Federal Credit Union for the third year being on board as a partner with that, and the State Theater. I mean, come on, it's the State Theater.
It's the.
Could you not think of a better place to have a concert like that than the Historic State Theater? I think it's absolutely perfect. It's never rained inside the State Theater. It's good.
Don't say that.
I didn't say that. Hey, did I mention that Sarah thinks it's Kenny Chestnut? So, just saying. All right. At this point,
hear this from my husband, right? Like for the rest of my life.
That's great.
And you.
And hopefully Mayor Gregory will bring that up. And
I'm sure you'll remind him.
All kinds of other people. But anyway, it's always fun. Sarah, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. This is great.
I'm
I
excited.
love that this is here.
I do too, because
Yeah.
without this, this has been a dream of mine, as we've talked about before, and
Yep.
I'm hoping that we'll be able to continue to share this information out. Again, the Elizabethtown City Concert Series for 2019, and I'll put this magical graphic back up there
Look at
again.
that.
Powering the Heartland. That's our E-Town City Party planner, Sarah Vaughn, with Kentucky's Heartland.